Welcome to my messy life. Take my hand and dive right on in with me. It's gonna be alright. Messy and perfect life with Leigh.
Hello, hello, hello. I am so gosh darn excited to be back with you guys for season number 2 of Messy and Perfect Life. I just have to say how much I love the mess, because now I'm learning not only is there magic in our mess, but there's money that can come from our mess. So really embracing the fact that life gets crazy as all get out. Life can be shitty beyond our expectations. We can get hit with tidal waves. But remember, after you get tumbled around a little bit, to take a deep breath and stand up, because goodness is coming. Our mess is where the magic comes from the, I'm going to say, growing our balls. I feel stronger from every single thing I've been through, and I feel like I have so much balls that I am almost fearless from how much I'm learning. So it's so exciting. Embrace that mess. Don't be ashamed of it. Let's spread it like wildfire. No, let's spread it like butter. I don't know. Okay, so what I'm excited about this is we are going to do the same thing this season. We are going to people are going to come on, they're going to talk about their mess, what they learned from it, and how they're using it as a source for good now. But then we're going to, at the end, have a little thing on wellness, because I like that we can hear from each other what we're doing to feel good, right? Like I exercise 5 days a week. I brush my teeth. I try and meditate. I'm trying to do twice a day, 20 minutes in the morning and at night. But I do it at least once a day, and I feel that that's the most life-changing thing. So those are a couple things that I'm doing to have some wellness in my unbelievably full life right now. Full with wonderful and full with holy Toledo, I can't believe this is happening. But the meditation gets me back to my truth, which reminds me, I will be starting every podcast with what I'm about to do, but right off the bat, which is take 3 grounding breaths. And I invite you to join me, because when we pause to breathe, we can come into the present moment. We can let go of all of the stuff that's on our plate, all the shit that is there. It's going to be waiting for us, but let's give ourselves a moment to come into this time together and let everything go and just absorb as much as we can from each other. So if you would join me, if you're driving, just keep driving and just do the breathing. But if you're not, if you put your feet on the floor and put your hands down on your lap to get grounded, or put your palms up to receive. And we're going to take 3 breaths together, in through our nose, hold for 2, and out through our mouth. And if you're holding a lot in your body, there's a lot of stress, a lot you're going through. When you exhale, just do an audible out of your mouth. Just let it go, release it. All right, so if you join me, in through your nose, hold for 2, and out through your mouth. One more time, in through your nose, hold for 2, and out through your mouth. And a final breath, in through your nose, hold for 2, and out through your mouth. I think life is so insane right now with the coronavirus, with people feeling disconnected, with people in depression or feeling suicidal. I think suicide is the number 1 death of reason for children between the age of 13 to 19. Suicide. Like, how disconnected are these children feeling? How alone are they feeling, where suicide seems like a good option? And I was thinking about my kids recently. I know Margot, every time I walk in Margot's room, she's in her bed with a box of chocolates or cookies or a hot tea next to her bed, and just swiping through. I'm not sure if it's Insta or TikToks. It's all day, every day. And I thought to myself, wow, I mean, that might be a cause for insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over is what Einstein said, expecting different results. But I think if you're just laying in there and looking at other people's best moments of their day, the best moments of their life every day, you feel like I suck. You can't help it. Like, even I go through and I'm looking at pictures going, Oh my God, she's getting so much work. Oh my gosh, she's so thin. Oh my gosh, they all had a party and didn't invite me. It's this constant intake of rejection that our mind is hungry for because it likes to beat us up. We have 80,000 thoughts a day that are negative. Well, 90% are negative. It's the same thoughts we had yesterday. We're in a constant loop of beating ourselves up, and there's no way better to feed that than to troll Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest to see how everyone's life is so magical. And I know the pictures I post a lot are my best. I mean, sometimes I post messed up ones, or I talk about how I cried all day and how desperately I needed to cry and that kind of stuff. But I also post the cutest ones of me that I can find, and cute ones of my kids and all that. But under the photos is life. Under the photos is the mess. Under the photos is the interesting shit. So if you're feeling isolated and alone, take a break from your phone, or actually touch a meditation app to connect with yourself, to know your worth, to take a respite from beating yourself up by looking at everyone else's gorgeousness, which is a false reality. And I love walking into a room where if I go in and I know they're really wealthy women, and I walk in and they're all polished, wearing whatever. By the way, if you notice my cute little jumpsuit, I'm wearing glitter today because I bought this for New Year's Eve and I didn't wear it. And then I was like, I'm going to wear it for my celebration, season 2. Woo! I'm so excited. So that's my outfit explanation. But anyway, if I walk into a big gathering and I see these like 5'10" gorgeous thin women with like the nicest shoes and purses that I might buy once for myself in my lifetime, I just pause and I look around at them and I think they have mess. They are suffering about something. They're hurting, just like I am. Don't let that polished purse or that new hairdo fool you. We're all the same. It's the great equalizer, the mess. We all got it. So I walk in there and I pause and I just look at them and I see their hearts, that no matter what they're showing me or how they're presenting, under there is someone who's struggling with something. And that's who I go up to talk to, right? It's the great equalizer. And it's just knowing that when you talk to someone, they're hurting, that under the small talk is something really hungry for connection. And I really believe when I share my mess, and I got a lot of it, thank God, so I can just keep sharing about it, but that it's an equalizer, right? You guys see that I'm you and you're me, and I'm just wearing a sparkle outfit with a microphone in front of my face, but we're the same. Speaking of... I wasn't speaking of this at all. It was just transition into something. So as I discussed last season that I was divorcing, and as I was talking about it last season, it was new for me because I had held it silent because we had been dealing with something pretty big in our home for 5 years, and it was kind of secretive. And I was trying to help and keep everything together and honor privacy and all this stuff. And then one day, my daughter came up and showed me on the phone that my husband had announced that he was divorcing me, and it was a TMZ article. And I thought we were keeping it, I was keeping it private for him, respecting that he's an actor. And then I found out he filed through TMZ, which was hilarious and jarring for me. But that was the pivotal change in me being a silent kind of victim of the circumstance to going, oh, shoot, can's open. I can now talk freely about it. Not about specifically any of our personal business, but about how I've been navigating divorce, how heavy it's felt to hold it in and be alone, and how now I can just share my stuff, share my mess. And it was so empowering that I led a 6-week online course called For the Love of Divorce. And it was getting back to the original love I had for David, where I can reside in that as we navigate mediation. I can be in my loving with him. I can set boundaries and make sure I get what I deserve, but I can also not suffer or be a victim anymore of the last 5 years. You know, he's no longer in my space. It's just really exciting when you get a divorce because you realize how many things you don't know about, not because you're naive, but because you didn't have to know about them. So I feel more empowered today, taking control of learning about money, setting up my own accounts, getting my own money manager to help me invest my money. Like, this is so empowering. And as I am very well right now aware that I am creating my empire that I've always had in my head, but I have been David Kettner's wife and the mom of 5 and kind of living that label those labels, as opposed to kind of rising to why I'm here and why God has me here. So now I'm like seeing all of the things. So anyway, there's many, many upsides to divorce. There's many upsides to change. Change is inevitable. Everything is impermanent. And when you kind of grasp that everything changes, including our body, we're a completely different person than we were when we were younger. Our cells are different. Our skin is different. Our look is different. Our body's different. Just realizing that change is just a normal part of life. And change is the greatest catalyst to good. It's the greatest way to go on a new path. It's the greatest way to get out of your comfort zone. It's the greatest way to soar, because we're not here to be stagnant. We're here to live outside of our comfort zone and the discovery unknown. So anyway, with divorce comes a lot of stuff. Besides me going through hell and having to actually go find help outside of my home to get back on my feet, but then you realize that these children have watched the struggle. I was in a session not too long ago with my son, a therapy session, where he said, I cried myself to sleep many nights because I could hear through the wall my parents fighting. And we thought we were doing it in our privacy, and my son was suffering. And that's just like, wow, I tried so hard to keep everything together, and it was such a disservice. It's like when things start getting hard or one partner sits down, you're no longer in partnership. You don't have to try for 5 years to pull them back up or to get them where you are, to recreate what was. It's just realizing what is today in this moment that my partner sat down. I no longer have someone to walk on this journey of parenting with, or not parenting, in a relationship. We're no longer partnered. We're not partners. And just having that kind of clarity frees you up from all the drama and suffering, right? So I did have to feel 5 years of pain as we went through what we went through. But then I could start to see faster. Now I can, because of my training with myself, the good. So I can feel the pain and feel it fully, man. I cried my ass off. Sometimes I still do. The first year Dave was out of the house, every holiday was like ripping a Band-Aid because I didn't know what to do after 22 years as a family with this guy. Everything was different, and I wasn't invited to the same things that we were always invited to. I wasn't invited to the big things anymore with all this group that we did for 20 years. And I found myself like in that story of being alone, which is the kind of theme that's followed me through my life, with kind of my mother locked behind her bedroom door. And I didn't have access to her, and I felt alone in my own home. And that comes up a lot for me, this feeling alone. But the feeling alone thing is kind of the drive of all of the work I do. It's to remind myself and others daily, you are not alone, no matter what you're going through. Your mind wants to tell you that, to take you down the dark hole because it likes it when it's kind of in control of you, right, and keeps you playing small. But when you rise and you let go of that story, then you can be all that you were created to be. Anyway, I was talking about the effects of divorce on the family, and it has affected all of my children because it has to, right? It has to. When there's change, everyone's affected, no matter if it's good or bad. And I've just had real awareness that one of my sons is the most sensitive, kind-hearted person that I know. And, he had a lot of big feelings when we were going through what we're going through, and then when Dave moved out. And I've just watched him over the last year just suffering with depression and heartache and feeling alone and feeling like he didn't fit in at school and feeling nobody listens and feeling like I yell at him all the time, which was true because he broke every rule, constantly pushing all of my buttons. So I was yelling at him a lot. And as we're in therapy together, I'm owning that and owning that I want to listen more than walking in with preconceived notions of what's going to happen. And then when I railroad over him to stop him from talking, he's going to give me a cue so I can take a pause and then try again. So we're learning to work on it together. But what was the biggest deal for me was when our children or anyone we know when they don't feel well, we assess the situation, right? We take their fever, their temperature. If something looks like it's hurting, we see if it's broken by touching it tenderly. If they have a stomach ache, they can't stop throwing up, we go to the pediatrician. It's like all the parts of our body that speak to us, we respond to in a beautiful way. As soon as the mind is saying, hey, something's off here, I'm not feeling so well, I'm feeling down more than normal. As a matter of fact, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm feeling really depressed. I'm feeling really isolated. And as soon as the mind starts presenting itself like an elbow might if you break it, or an ankle might if you sprain it, or its toe might if you stub it. When the brain starts going, I'm hurting, right? We kind of ignore it and go, oh, stop it, knock it off, sit up, eat your breakfast, you need more sleep, right? We don't treat it like just another part of the body that needs attention. That's all it is. So as I had one son who was feeling more and more depressed, and I was saying, I want to get him help, and people are like, he's fine, give me a break, keep sending him to school. But I had this heaviness on my heart, and his behavior kept escalating, which for me was screaming, I need help. What do I have to do till someone helps me? I'm a child. And finally, I acted on him and got him the help, which is getting me the help, right? So it's healing kind of the whole situation. It's allowing him to let go of this story. I have to act out to get attention. I have to act out to show how I feel. I have to push everyone to get someone taking care of me and seeing me. So it's so beautiful. I just want to say, if there's anyone in your family who you know, which is more than half of the population, way more, I'm sure, because I think we're all crazy, meaning if we have 80,000 negative thoughts spinning in our brain every day, and we spin them again the next day, right? That's Einstein's definition of insanity. We're doing the same thing, expecting something different, but our life never changes. Then we're frustrated. Why isn't it ever changing, right? Because we're not taking action. So if someone's hurting, no matter what part of their body it is, have no shame. And if you get someone the help they need, hug yourself, celebrate yourself, put on your glitter outfit that you took care of the person. You didn't do what society told you, what your friends told you. You did what your heart told you. Take care of the ones you love, regardless of how they're presenting. It doesn't have to be leukemia or a broken leg. So I just want to say that because there's so much stigma around mental illness, around depression, and so much judgment, and I just don't get it. When people are down, that's the time we love them and help them rise, right? That's not the time we attack them and gossip about the mom. It's like, don't you think those people have enough on their plate? Send them love and elevate them. But it's also a great indicator if you're gossiping about them, you have so much inner healing to do. So you can actually lift people up one day instead of stirring the pot of gossip, hate, negativity, actually depression. It's all on the same wavelength. So have awareness how you show up in life and how you treat people as they navigate their path, right? We got to let people walk their path and not make it right or wrong how they're walking it. They're on their own GD path. Walk your path. You don't agree? Quit looking at them. You have judgments against them? Pray for yourself for judging another, and then pray for them. So it's like just the little teeny things starting to have awareness and owning our shit. I like to say ownership. Owning your shit to a happy life. Owning the way you look at people, how you judge people, how you support people. I love when I'm doing awesome and I'm celebrating. There's only a few of my friends who can jump up and down with me. The rest are like, somehow if I'm elevating, rising, it's a threat to them. I don't understand. I guess it's an insecurity thing, but it's like as we celebrate others, we are elevated. We are opening ourselves to be celebrated. So just be super aware of how you're showing up on the planet. The more loving you are, the more loving your life will be. The more open and compassionate you are. I mean, gosh dang it. Jesus Christ was such a cool person that walked the earth, how he modeled love and compassion in every situation, no matter what was going on. And I love that when people are Christians and they say they are, which means I'm Christ-like, which means I'm following his path of love and compassion. And then they say shit things about people that this is wrong or this is right or this is wrong. That's not of God. God is only love. So let's be loving. No. Okay, so anyway, I'm just excited all the things that divorce has brought me, from the family shakeup, for me going to mediation going, I don't know what the hell to do. And then the mediator starts talking. I'm like, I really don't know what the hell to do. And then they start showing me numbers and I go, that doesn't feel right, but I don't know why or what to do. And then allowing myself to seek counsel, to bring them in, to consult me, to get support because I don't know what to do. So, and also around money, I'm learning a lot about money right now. And my story will never be again. I don't know. I don't know about money. I don't do the billing. Hell no, I'm going to know everything and be empowered in everything. And as my empire grows, I'm going to be well aware of our finances, where the money's going, where I need to focus to make more, where I need to cut the slack. This is like the greatest springboard for me to be all I know that I was here to create it, to be the person God created me to be. Okay, yeah, I mentioned that TMZ article, which was hilarious, and we're going to flash a little picture of that sometime during this podcast so you can see what I saw. But that got to be the catalyst of me to drop my story of hiding and pretending, to trying to be anything other than a really vulnerable lady going through something she never imagined she'd be going through. And that's where my healing can start. That's where my sharing can start. That's where my connection can start. So I'm grateful for TMZ today. Thank you. Yeah, and everything that flips us upside down, let us catch our breath and go, oh, I just got a jolt of fuel. I got some shit to work through and to learn from to grow. Let's grow strong and tall, and let's do it fast. Like, I like to flip it fast now. I want to feel the pain and cry my ass off. Then I want to get to work. I want to get to the learning, and I want to release it. So A, it never has to come back because I got it. Or B, if it does, I have a whole toolkit. Oh, this again? I'm going to navigate in a beautiful new way. And that's what I'm doing. Like, I have a couple children who have the same struggles. And the first one, I worked my ass off to make everything right in each school and doctor and this and this and this. And by the time he was 13, I was exhausted. He was exhausted. And we ended up sending him to a therapeutic boarding school to get help because it was what was needed, which broke my thought of being a mother because I couldn't even mother my own kid. I had to send him away somewhere, right? So it got to shatter my belief of what a mother was and realize a mother is meeting the individual's need. It's not doing any preconceived game plan I have on someone because it doesn't match who they are, right? That's just some stuff we came in with in our own mind, but we have to look at the kid and get them what they need and let them experience life and fall down and go through their own thing and ask for help. I wore myself out trying too hard all the time. So when my last one, Evie, she's a 9-year-old girl who reminds me of a 78-year-old wise woman and Chris Farley. But when Eve comes up and she's got a big personality and she's going through the same stuff, kind of being rigid at school and a follower and telling on people if they don't follow, and it's just how her brain's wired, but it's not fun to be around for other people or other kids, that with her, I'm not wringing my hands. With her, I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off. With her, when the teachers approach me, I say, wow, that's exactly how Eve should be behaving, how her brain's wired. We're getting her therapeutic behavior for that. We're working on those skills. Here's how you can empower her instead of getting her deeper and being stuck. So it's so wonderful to go through stuff because when I got Eve, and I was like, oh, good, a girl. We can just have tea parties because I'm going to be 70 when she graduates high school. I was like, I can just tea party with her ass. Oh, no. She is on fire more so than any of them. And I'm like, really, God? Haven't I gone through enough parenting that I just kick it? And God's like, no, you have so much more to learn. So Eve is like this amazing wild spirit that God's blessed me with to keep me young, to keep me learning, and to let me take a pause now and take care of myself and then respond instead of reacting. I didn't do that this morning, though. I exploded on her when she would not use the towel I told her to, and then she got mad and put her toothbrush on the floor, and then I think I yelled a profanity and slammed the door and walked out, and then I was like, wow, way to go, spiritual teacher. And then I had to forgive myself for reacting and take a breath and go back in and say, I'm sorry that I yelled at you in that voice. You shouldn't be spoken to that way. And she's learned to not say it's okay because it's not okay, but she says, I accept your apology. But then I stand there and stare at her with evil eyes, waiting for her to apologize, which I got to work on too, because she doesn't sometimes. But I have to guide her later. Just remember, when you're a part of something, to have ownership over your part too. It would be nice for you to say, I'm sorry too. She's like, oh, okay. I don't know if she'll remember, but I'm trying. So anyway, what I'm loving is that I am getting more of a pause. I'm cutting myself more slack. I'm taking a breath and taking care of myself and forgiving myself instead of beating myself up, right? Because as soon as I can go, you're human, you're doing the best you can where you are, you just need to pause. And then I take my 3 breaths and I go back in and apologize and try not to do evil eyes if she doesn't do it back. I do love to give with expecting nothing because that's the best giving. Because the people who give and go, you didn't even say thank you. Are you going to do anything for me? Then it's all tainted, messed up, and then I don't want to do anything, and I want to just give back what was given to me. So just be open, like when you give from your heart, give with no expectation. Oh, wait, I just heard a quote. Give I can't remember it. I heard it yesterday. But anyway, it was basically like give expecting nothing and receive something like sharing everything. So give with expecting nothing back, but when you receive, fully receive it and say thank you and acknowledge the other person who took the time to give. And we're talking about that. I was somewhere with kids. Oh no, we were working with the prisoners. I was in the prison doing the prison project, and we're doing therapy with lifers. And I was at a women's prison, and one prisoner said, all you come in here, and I know you're helping us and all that, but every time I say thank you, you guys say, no, thank you. But I really wish somebody would hear my thank you, that I really appreciate what you're doing. And we just realized, wow, when people give, it's a gift from them. Don't wash it away by going, oh, no big deal. Don't worry about it. Oh, who cares? Oh, thank you. No, seriously, you give me more back than you'll give you. Hear them, right? That's all we want, is to be seen and heard, to know we matter. That's so beautiful, the simplicity of that. Parenting, your kids need 2 things to leave your home feeling like they matter or they're worthy. They need you to see them and to hear them. And that's it. I love that. Just remember that as the foundation of parenting. It's such a relief. You don't have to sew, you don't have to cook, you don't have to do soccer, ballet. This. They need to be seen and heard. That's the fuel for love and for life. And the rest is just cherries on top. But don't make them do too much, because then you're living out your childhood on them, wishing they could do all the things you could do. Okay, last parenting thing, because this is was not my go-to today, but it's flowing out, so I'm going to let it. Remember, you are on the planet for you. You have your lane you are walking in for your soul's evolution. Temporarily, these small people are sharing space with you. They're not yours. They come from you to experience life as well. So guide them, love them, care for them, show them love. All of that stuff is great, but let them do them. You do you. That will alleviate the empty nest syndrome. As I create my empire, as I do what I love, as I model for my children how to live fully, right? The minute a parent goes, my children are my world, I put them first, I'm like, oh, that's a lot of pressure to put on your kids. So really stay in your lane, explore yourself, love them, show them how to live. My favorite quote, or one of them, is from Carl Jung. And he said, the greatest disservice in the life of a child is the unlived life of the parent. Live fully, you guys, and show them how to live. Model for them love. If you're in a loveless marriage, disservice to you, your spouse, and your children. Show them, model for them a marriage. Model for them work ethic. Model for them fun with their friends. Show them that you can still be you and love other people. And that empowers them to be their own person. And I did not do that with my first son. And we paid the consequences for it. He didn't know who he was. And it took him having to go away from me to have breathing space to find out who he was, because I was trying so hard, which was a disservice to the both of us. Okay. Awesome things that have happened. So that was kind of a recap where I am right now. I'm still in mediation. I'm doing it with love. We're getting to all the financial stuff. I'm trusting in God, knowing I will be taken care of. I no longer have to get ticked off over little things, right? Because I'm getting caught up in bullshit, and I'm not staying in the present moment. Because in the present moment, there's no past, there's no future. It's clean, right? To keep coming back to the present moment, this doesn't exist. What happened yesterday is gone. How can I show up right now in this fresh moment to make it new? And they come every moment. If we stay there, we're always in the present, where nothing exists but this moment. The minute we think about the past or the future, we're out of our life, right? We're missing what's in front of us. So we're missing our lives when we worry, right? We're worried about the coronavirus. Oh my gosh, over here. We're out of our lives. We are in worry, which is putting our body in dis-ease. If we stay in this area and we wring our hands and we get worried and we start doing this and with this, our immune system goes down. Our thoughts start to bring corona more around our life, more around our thoughts, and it really lowers our immune system, and it prepares our body to be in disease or to welcome in something, because our immunity is down. So my little thought on the coronavirus, which I take very seriously, and I see what's happening around the world, and I heard the statistics, we have 8,000 deaths from regular flu a year, But now I heard this morning that from a guy who I kind of trusted talking about it, he said that it is 10 times greater than the regular flu. So when you feel really bad with the regular, times that by 10, and that's really what we're dealing with. So here's how I feel about it. I'm still going to live my life. On my birthday this weekend, there's some really cool event with Chris Martin singing with the small thing. It's a small get-together or whatever. I'm going to it. And I'm going to go in knowing I'm healthy, knowing that I'm in perfect health. I'm going to take the precautions because I'm going to educate myself. And then I'm going to enjoy the hell out of the night. And I'll have hand sanitizer. I'm not going to French kiss anyone. And I'm going to try and elbow. Or my favorite thing that someone recommended, I think some guy from CDC or CDC, is that what it's called, Kevin? CDC. He wrote, if I was going to give a message to the world, here it would be. And he told his things. And one of them was bowing instead of touching at all. And just like a little bow, which made me giggle because I did it a few times. And then just like with your hands, a little namaste bow when you feel kind of like you might be in Asia or something like that. It was kind of sweet. And then the one I love is I went on a really fancy place with Dave for a tenure, I think. It was called the one and only Palmilla in Mexico. It's really fancy. And that you have like one butler. And the butler would come in to pour us tequila shots, before dinner or lunch. But he would pour the tequila shots, ask if we need anything. And no matter what he said, he always put his hand on his heart and he said, my pleasure. Every time. And I really felt like he meant it. And it was so endearing. So I'm like, I'm just going to do my pleasure. I might say it, even though it doesn't fit whatever situation I'm in. My pleasure. Well, I didn't say thank you for anything. My pleasure. So I don't know. But I just love the different ways to explore showing love, right? That we can still show love if you're super scared. I still hug people. I just try not to French kiss them or rub my eyes right after I hug them. But what I do know is I'm going to keep my body healthy. I'm going to keep my immune system up with only healthy thoughts. I'm going to put things into my body that are good for, like the CBD oil I'm using, that I'm going to put that into my body, which is like a number one fighter for inflammation, and inflammation is the root of all disease. So just like a simple, healthy thing that I can do easy to sustain my immune system. And I'm not going to let my thoughts go to worry. I'm going to educate and act appropriately, right? And then I'm going to put up all my big shields to not welcome any more of that into my life. No worry, no breakdown of my immune system by wringing my hands. I'm just going to stay healthy and be educated and take appropriate action. That's all we can do. And the rest of the stuff is hype and going to freak us out. Just do your part to stay healthy. And send love and light to the people who are suffering and to the elderly who have it, because it's like, I think, sure thing they can't fight. But be smart and allow yourself to know that you are in perfect health, and allow yourself to walk through the planet that way, because your body reacts to what your mind tells it. Your body's waiting for signals. Oh my gosh, things are bad. A disease is coming. Your body prepares to welcome the disease. Your immune system goes down. You're worried and you're out of the present moment. So let's take some breaths, come back to the present moment, knowing we're okay right now. And we're going to be educated and take action steps to continue that way of living. So as I shifted out of woe is me, as I stood in my power, amazing things are happening that are blowing my mind. So if you've ever heard like our mind is limited, outside of our mind is limitless, I might have made that up, something like that. So if we're working from our mind, it's small-minded. It's just what we know. It's what we can see. When we move past that, we realize there's gravity. I can't see it, but it's a force holding me to the planet. How cool is that? I can't see it. Love is something that I can feel when someone looks at me. When I walk in a room and feel someone's energy, I can feel love. It's tangible. It's not just when I'm making out, which I like as well. So it's like being aware that there are things outside of our body and our mind's comprehension that exist. So I like to live there more than here, because this is limited. This wants to stop me. This wants to put on the brakes. This wants to say, you can't do that. What are you thinking? You're not good enough. You're not. Bullshit. I have the power of the universe. So when I close my eyes and quiet my mind, I can connect to it within, right? Then you're unstoppable. And as I have spoken up for myself in mediation, I remember one particular day, She came in and said something, and I said, absolutely, to the mediator. Dave and I were in separate rooms because he was feeling very hostile towards me that day. And so I just said, I'm sorry, I'm not budging on this one. This is something I'm not letting go of. So let's table it and move on to the next thing, and we can revisit it. But I don't want to get stuck here because it seems like we're both stuck, and I'm not letting go of it right now because this is important to me. And then she walked out, and I sat up straight, and I was like, damn right. I'm going to get what's mine and what I deserve. Dave's been running the show, our whole marriage around money and all that, with a sense of lack. I've always heard we never have enough. And I was sitting in that room going, that will never be a part of my story again. I will never live from lack again. I will never welcome lack. I will only welcome abundance, and I will do it in a very smart and focused way. I'm going to create what I've always known in my heart, what is waiting for me, which is this empire, you guys. I've seen me on sold out stages, selling merchandise, including shoes. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm going, oh, all those possibilities are tangible right now. They're not too far out from me. So it's like cool to go live your life, even though you have this knowing, and to go on all these paths. And then all of a sudden everything's kind of coming. So anyway, I'm in mediation. She walks out. I'm kind of sitting up straighter because I voiced for myself. I spoke up for myself, and my phone tings. Now, I've been saying busy a lot, but I'm done with the word busy because that makes people feel like I'm too busy for you. When girls call me like, come out, let's go do this. Want to go out to lunch? I'm like, no, I'm busy. I don't like that word or how it feels. And then they respond, well, you should preach what you teach. You should make time for yourself and your family and fun. I was like, I do. So anyway, I was trying to figure out, here's what it is. I'm not busy. I am focused, super focused on what I want and where I'm going. And I carve out time for my work, and I don't deviate from it. I carve out time with my kids, and I don't deviate from it. I carve out time to go on a date, and I don't deviate from it, because those are all important parts of my life. So when people go, want to come out today? I'm like, you know what? I'm really focused on this wonderful thing I'm creating that fills my heart. Everything is scheduled. I would love to see you. Let's get you in the schedule. And that's how I'm working, because if I drop it and go, and I go have cocktails, not only does my body feel worse, but I miss that chunk of getting to where I know I'm going. So it's so neat to commit to yourself, set boundaries, get focused, and stick with it. So I'm focused now on what I want, and I schedule so there's time for everything so I can have balance. So anyway, I'm sitting there in mediation. I hear a ding. I normally don't look. I glance down. It says something from LinkedIn. I never use LinkedIn. I touched it. It went to the LinkedIn page, and it was a woman saying, hi, I work for this particular company. I've been following you for 7 years. I was producing for Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and you came up and talked to her somewhere, and I was working with her, and I was watching you interact, and I thought, this lady's neat. I really like, there's something about this lady. She said, I've followed you 7 years on social media, and I just thought, I want to work with her. So I'm here to ask you, are you interested in developing a television show around what you do? And my response was, if you are in line with my values, if you are in line with my mission statement, if your company is as well, I'm open to discussing that with you. And that felt so good because I've committed to only doing things that represent why I'm on the planet. I'm here to shine my light, and I'm here to share that light, right? So anything where I can shine my light and I'm doing it to be of service is what I'm doing, is only what I'll do now. In the past, I would have gone, yeah, oh my gosh, you want me? Oh, what do you want to do? I mean, literally, I was a chicken with my head cut off before I knew who I was. I was pitching shows left and right. One almost went, and I almost freaked out when it went to the third, to the head guy, knowing this isn't what I want to be known for. I'm more than this, but I didn't know what the hell I wanted to be known for. So I had more work to do to find out who I am and what gifts I have of healing and helping people. So here, this woman says that when I'm talking about money, I want to create a show around you. I came home that day, same day, went to my computer, looked on. I got someone reached out to me from casting for an NBC show that's going on air this fall. And the text message, email said something like, we're casting for this big show. You'll know about it soon. I don't even know if I should talk about the names of it, but we're casting for the show. It's going to air. We've been looking for a parenting expert. We kind of haven't found, we have some people we're looking at, we haven't found like the exact one. Someone just brought your name up. I looked at all your stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this lady? Are you open to interviewing for the TV show? And the knowing I didn't share at the beginning was I always knew I was going to be on a television show. I used to try, and then I just let it go and went on the path of why I'm here, which is shining my light. And here, as I'm growing and rising and opening, the 2 television shows are coming, right? So the other one, the next day she put me on tape just via Skype or Zoom, and then she gave it to her boss who's casting for the show. He loved it and sent it to NBC. So now I'm waiting. I think it's 4 weeks. I think that we have like 1 more week to wait. And I have no attachment to it because I know God has what's coming for me. And I know with grace and ease it's going to happen. What that is for me, regardless, is a reminder that as I open, it's coming, right? It's just coming to me. And the other girl's developing is coming to me. And that's going to happen regardless of what happens with NBC. So then, now my podcast, to tell the truth, why I stopped season 1, because I loved it so much, was at the end of 2019, I made a decision I would no longer do anything where I was bleeding out. I will no longer pay to speak on a stage. I will no longer pay to have a table at somebody's event to try and get people to look at my merchandise. I will no longer pay to do my podcast. As much as I loved it, I was spending $300 a week, $1,200 a month on it. And with my new limited budget, I need to be really clear what all my bills are, which I'm still not, before I can spend $1,200 on anything. So I made the decision, I'm going to stop at 48, episode 48, and I'm going to call that the first season. And I'm not starting the second season until I have a sponsor who's going to pay for the episode so I can do it freely with no stress, right? I got a couple messages on Messenger, and I'm not a big social media person. Although you see me on social media, I don't look around a lot because I'm really focused on my tasks. So I go and post, and then I go connect with the people and talk to them who are on my post, but I don't look a lot at other stuff, including Messenger, which is like a different app, and it has like a number of 52 on it, and I'll touch it, and I'm overwhelmed with all the messages, so I get off it. But one time I saw this woman, Lana Swinson, and I saw her name, and I just kind of saw it. Oh, I remember her. I did paddleboarding once with her in Newport Beach. I think she's a wealthy gal, married to a guy, and they got a bunch of kids. But I didn't read it. And then again, I saw her name. And then she sent me an email, hey, I want to chat. I was like, oh, it'd be great to chat with you too. But still, she's not in my calendar, and I'm focused, right? I saw one more message from her, and she goes, we really want to talk to you about our product. And I was like, oh, Alicia, will you sign a call with Lana Swinson so I can do a Zoom and hear what she's talking about? And I got onto Zoom, and it was her and her husband. And it was a whole business proposition, partnership with me as an early founder in their company, as the face of their company, and as we're talking about this, and as I'm in my worth, right? I now know my worth. I now know what I can do for people in corporations. I now know what I can do for any person, right? My normal work, for corporations, for people who are struggling with mental illness, divorce, like all of these things, because I've experienced them and I have the tools to navigate out and to actually have fun, right? We don't have to always be in deep heaviness with everything. It's to give ourselves a little bit of levity as we navigate things and be gentle with ourselves and all that good stuff. Anyway, she talks about being a spokesperson because she's followed me on Facebook and Instagram, loves my message, loves how I want to help people and their company, Tune Wellness, which right now is doing CBD oils. But what's cool about it is they have a weight loss one that's having outstanding results. It's just weight loss. You put it on your tongue and you hold it like 30 seconds to a minute. You put it on your tongue. I always heard under, but that whatever it has in it, somewhere like teratimes or tepridines or I don't know, we'll find out. You put it on your tongue and it absorbs in. It gets into your bloodstream quicker. So you hold it there. They have one for calm, one for focus. With my ADD, it helps a lot. One for pain, which I had a hurt shoulder and bursitis in my hips, and I took it without even thinking about it, just do what you're supposed to do without even thinking it's not going to work, it's going to work. Literally forgetting that I was taking it, but it was in part of my routine after brushing my teeth. 3 weeks later, they said, how do you feel? Like, do you notice anything different? I was like, not really. Oh, wait, my shoulder with my 2 partially torn rotator cuff thing doesn't hurt as much. Oh, wait, I'm exercising and standing up after, and my bursitis or whatever it's called is not throbbing. I used to have to wait like 5 steps to feel good again to get through the pain. And I was like, oh my gosh, that stuff's gone, like literally gone. And I just think that our body's so hungry for natural products that can decrease the inflammation. And I just learned that inflammation is the root of all disease. Wow, that's powerful. If we can decrease our inflammation, we can live healthier lives, right? We can have to take less drugs or weight loss things or all these kind of things because we're healthy. So I was like, wow, I'm working out 5 days a week. I meditate. I'm eating healthy. I'm doing all these things. That's like a warm blanket I can put inside of my body, right, to decrease the inflammation, to go to the places where it's needed. So it's been incredible to partner. It's called Tune Wellness. And my whole message is tuning in, right? Closing your eyes and tuning in, checking in with yourself. How are you today? How are you feeling today? What do you need from me, right? Learning to become my own best friend. And now I can give myself a product in my mouth that goes and does the same inside of my body, right? So I'm doing it with my mind, I'm doing it with my heart, and I have another thing to propel wellness. So anyway, it's unbelievable to me that I'm sitting there as I'm in this new place, knowing all things are possible and that God's got my back. And I get a message from her, I do a Skype, and she said, and can my husband come on your podcast talking about the product? And I said, my podcast is on hold until I find a sponsor. Literally, I was like this, until I find a sponsor. I would like you guys to be my sponsor. I'll talk about your oil because I like it and it's doing good, and you have a global message of helping people around the world with something that is good for you, that can alleviate pain and suffering. So I said, you guys sponsor, I'll message it, we'll partner in this, and you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, I had a sponsor. Why? Because I seized the moment, because I knew I was worthy, and I knew my message was worthy of the ask, and they want to be in business with me, and they said, okay. So I just ran out and bought the stuff last night to start my new fresh podcast, right, with a sponsor, with a global vision and mission, which feels way beyond me and feels right. And it feels that we can connect here, and it can be a global thing, reminding myself and you guys that we're not alone, that we're never alone, regardless of where we are and how we feel. That I have you, that I've got you. It's my favorite motto, I got you. I'll have to share a link about that. On this podcast, I'm going to share a link about my I got you story when things were so bad in Dallas and I was behind and I was freaked out. Every single person, from the guy at the front desk in the hotel, everyone was a different sex and ethnicity. And all of them, I ran in and looked in their eyes and they go, I got you, I got you, I got you. I mean, all of them, gay, straight, men, women, black, white, Mexican, an Asian gal, like all of them just go, I got you. And it touched me so deeply, and I heard it with profound ears, not just hearing it. I looked in their eyes and they had me, and they didn't know me. The simple words, I got you, resonated so deeply, changed my whole day. And I thought, what if we said that to each other? That immediately closes the gap of feeling separated, of separation, could close the gap of people listening to each other to have different opinions so they don't have to kill each other because they think differently. I don't know. It just moved me so much, the simple words. I got you. I don't know why I went on to that, but I like it. My whole point with this thing is as I'm healing, as I'm empowering myself, as I'm shedding my stories, I don't know anything when I know everything. When I open my mind to receive the information, I have it. It's that simple. I am empowered now with my money. I am empowered that I got this. I am empowered. I'm going to create, never have lack again. I am in a knowing I'm going to create more. I'm going to create all the money I've ever wished someone would create for me, to not only use it to give back, but to have fun with my family in a really neat way. I just want to make sure all the things that have happened since I last saw you guys, the partnership and a sponsor, my 2 television shows in development, and then a book publisher from Austin, Texas reached out and said, I was just looking at all of your stuff and you have a lot of books. And I said to her, yes, I do. And she said, are you open to writing one? And I said, yes, I am. I've been told I need to write one since my son Charlie was born and I almost died and I had to use a surrogate for my next kid. Everyone's been saying, you got to write a book about this, and this, and this. I said, I think I am ready to write a book. And I said, if your company supports authors that have a voice like mine, if it's helping people, if you're not into smut, if your mission statement of your company is in line with my mission statement, I would love to talk about working together. And there's something empowering to know who you are and why you're here, and to only do that, because then you are in charge of the relationships. You are in charge of what you do. You are in charge of how you show up in your integrity. You're no longer saying, pick me. You're saying, you see me, you see my relevance and my importance. Let me see if you are in line to work with me. There's such a shift there. It's been incredible for me to witness with myself, to observe myself, that I used to go, I'm so nervous, I'm going to pitch the show, I hope they like me, oh my God, I just want to get on, I just know I have something to give. And going in with that energy, and they're like, I don't think so. Oh no, try again. No. And me getting so discouraged. But then once when I almost got it, I was like, what in the hell am I doing? This is not what I want to be known for, right? And slowing down to get back to myself, doing the work, healing, learning, and giving and being of service from here, with no care about anything else. And that, when we're moving forward in our mission and our purpose, is when good shit comes to us. To say, hey, you are rising. I'm the universe here to meet you. Here is Chad Swinson and his wife to partner for your podcast, to give you business, to get you in business with them as they build this new amazing company. Here is a publisher you're going to work with, and here's a television show. One's going to get you hyped up, and one's going to be your dream show. So here are the things that you have longed for, but since you surrendered it and did the good work, which means the work within, and then being of service from that work, you're going to be rewarded with the things you wanted. So I no longer wanted them, right? I released them. I knew they were going to come one day. I might be freaking 80. I didn't care. I just knew what was coming. I knew I'd be on a hit show. But I released that and got to work. God, what would you have me do? Once I could stand up from my divorce, and I stood up and I looked down at the thought I was holding that my foundation of my life was on, the thought, and it was gone. And then I went up my body, literally, even though it sounds silly, I was like, I'm still standing. Oh, what do you have planned for me that I couldn't have done as David Koechner's wife? I am here, I'm all in, let's go. And that was the moment where I shifted. And then everything has been a building block to myself of who I am and my power within. That everything I looked outside of me would never touch, could never fill or feel. It was all right here within. And when I allowed myself to go to my own power, I never have to look outside of myself again for validation, for money, for support, for love. That I can fill myself up with so much love that my love bank is full and anyone else's love is just bubbling over. Or I can fill myself up with so much deep knowing of my worth and that I have a purpose and a mission on this planet, as we all do. Can people come? And that openness and that receiving, that's when you can welcome the people in, right? When you're not in want, you're in service. Be of service. That's how the greatest people I love, like Jesus Christ and Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and Martin Luther King, they were all of service. Martin Luther King didn't even want to be the big mission guy. Rosa Parks sat on the bus, said, I didn't want to get up today. It was as simple as that. Started a revolution. They went to this young minister. They were just having like a town hall meeting or something like that. Mel Robbins talks about it in the 5-second rule. And they said to who did I just say? I'm having such bad potholes. Thank you. They said to Martin Luther King, we want you to do this movement. And he said, no, thank you. My plate's full. I'm doing what I love. I'm good. And then he heard within, you're leading the movement. And he was like, all right, what's our first thing? And he led this beautiful movement by this beautiful woman who stood her ground one time. I'm not moving today. I'm tired. I've ridden this bus 800 times, she said to the bus driver who she knew well. And he said, I know, but I got to call the cops if you don't get up. She said, call them. And people interviewed her, said, what was it? What was it? What did you? She said, I was just tired of playing that. I was done. And that sparked the movement. And him saying yes when he was called out. him stepping forward, even though his fear and his plate and all the other stuff told him not to. He did it anyway and changed the world. It's so wonderful that we all have these genius ideas. When you have one, take a pause and write it down. If you can't come back to it right then, revisit it. What would that look like if it was fully explored? What would that look like in a way of service that could change the world? I look forward to talking with Chad Swinson, who's the founder of the company that I'm partnering with in the next episode. You're going to get to meet him and maybe his wife, but you're going to get to meet them and hear the heart of why they're investing in this product, why they're getting the top scientist in the nation, maybe the world, to develop the product scientifically, not just to throw their CBD label on someone else's product and sell it at a store. They're creating things that's going to change the world globally in different kind of products. And for them to come to me, it's just like, I just want to take a quick break to say thank you to God and thank you to the universe. And when I rise and I do my work and I open my heart, that you fill it with the exact right people in the exact right moment when I'm ready and worthy to open and receive it. And I'm in such deep gratitude. So anyway, you guys, go through the muck, hurt, feel the pain, cry your eyes out, then stand up, say thank you, and get to the learning. Because then you can get to the sharing and helping other people, and then you can use it to bring in abundance, right? Keep rising. Rise! People rise! All right, so I just did a For the Love of Divorce online course, and it was with 8 women. It was very powerful. I'm going to be putting that up, so you can just look for it. It's coming out soon, very soon, where you can just do it at your own course. If you're thinking about divorce, in one, out of one, and miserable and still angry, we address all the 6 pillars of divorce to get back to love. And I'm already back into love as I mediate, which is a miracle. And the man, one of the guys who's helping us, is like, how in the hell are you doing that? Like, you should be crying and being a victim. And I was like, oh no, son. I'm way knowing my worth, that's low level. And I did that a long time, and I will never go back there. I'm setting my boundaries. I'm moving forward. I'm getting educated, and I'm flying. I'm soaring. So know that you have that within you too, if you allow yourself to peel back the bullshit thoughts, to cut the tethers you've been holding to keep you back, and to allow yourself to do what you were created to do. It's so much easier than staying in the story. It's so light and easy, and grace and ease. Also, if you have not subscribed to my podcast, please do so now. I would love that. And this is going to be an amazing season. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy that I'm with you, and I can't wait to share and to hear from, I know Tom Arnold is coming on soon, if you remember Tom Arnold. He is a dynamic guy and has so much to share and has so much mess, but he has such a goofy, open heart. He's going to be such a treat for our learning and growing and healing and laughing our asses off. And then join in next week to meet Chad Swinson, who is the founder of Tune Wellness. I love you guys, and I'm honored to spend time with you. Kind of want to say a prayer. I'm going to. I don't know. If you don't believe, just close your eyes and be quiet. If you do, just touch your heart and connect with Him for a moment. God, I'm so grateful for this time. I'm so grateful of the mess you've given me so that I can use it to be of service. I'm so grateful for my sponsors so I get to do my podcast again. And I just shower everyone who's listening and everyone who's ill and everyone around the world with loving light. I got you. Amen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you next week with Chad Swinson. Bye-bye.